Hello, friends. This is Joseph Odiboye again, and this time around, I'm just trying to give you a little um, clue into the things I have been pondering on, and I think I'm going to spend some time to discuss. Over the years, I've actually been into training, and I've done recruitments, and I have done other things actually, and I have been able to draw some understanding from this practical experiences that I have gathered. And I think some of these topics will be very helpful and would actually impact a lot of people beyond whatever you might be doing at the moment because it's about value creation in the end of it. Everybody just needs to add some value and make the world a better place. So I've been able to come up with some of these topics which I feel will be very, very, very helpful and everyone would stand to gain a lot. And feel free to share your own opinion in the comment sections when these topics are being discussed because it will only help for all of us to benefit from ourselves. So I feel the first topic that comes to mind would be communication in a difficult work environment. We all have that kind of settings or that kind of exposure where you get in the workplace and realize that there are certain colleagues or certain structures, certain cliques are just not workable. You're unable to get through them and getting work done becomes difficult. So we're going to look at the background around that and the possible things that could be done to help you scale through. And that in itself. Then the next thing I feel very important will be work-life balance. A lot of us, particularly those of us who actually maybe assumed to be workaholics, or people who just derive more pleasure from work than other parts of life. So it's important to strike a balance because the human system is constructed in a way that you need to have a blend of several other things so that the system can continue to function properly, particularly your mind or the psychology of a human being. Productivity is at its best when you have a balance of everything that is important to you. Now, there is no one rule fits all because what seems to be work-life balance to A might be the opposite for B, but finding a balance in everything that so one of the things we'll discuss will be identifying your interest areas, identifying the areas that are necessary, the areas that are compulsory, the areas that are optional, the ones that you just have interest in, and you should be able to find a blend between it. So it's not you trying to be perfect, but just being you and giving yourself expression in the areas where you need to find expression. Now, another thing that's very important, which of course has been my interest over the years, is focusing on job seekers. There are lots of people who are trying to get a job and are in the dark of what to do. So it makes it a lot difficult and they get into frustration. So we'll be discussing things to do when job hunting. And this one would focus mainly on basic steps that job seekers need to embrace if you really think you need that job. All right. Then the next thing we'll look at employability skills, which is now a little step higher than basic things to do when looking for a job or job hunting. So look at the skills you need to have, things to help you if you're looking for a job locally and you're trying to get a job internationally. So a blend of all these things would make the best out of you. And more than 60% of the time, you would always have what you're looking for. I mean, if anybody should speak about that, it should be me who actually has gone through that route practically. So it's not just me trying to have a conversation, but you sharing things that has been my personal experience. And of course, people who know me personally know that that has been my reality. So that's going to be discussed, which is employability skills for job seekers. And I'm looking at this again, managing stress for job seekers. We are not just the pack of skills that we have. We're not just the whole smiles and the frowns that we have. We have our emotions, and our emotions take a cue or take a lot of feedback from the environment we find ourselves, and that to a large extent has a way of impacting stress. And many of us transfer the stress we've gotten from different parts of life into different other areas. And that is the reason why I'm going to be spending some time to discuss managing stress for job seekers. yes, it can be very frustrating, particularly when you're applying for those jobs and you're trying to find out what they want and you're trying to put your documents together before applying into those jobs and trying to, in fact, the most frustrating is the suspense when the interviewer sends you that auto reply, your application has been received. We will let you know if your application will be moved to the next level. That has its own suspense. So there is a lot of stress that comes out of it, and we'll be talking about it and seeing how to distress in those areas. Now, that's for job seekers. We'll be looking at the same topic for people who are currently employed, because stress is everywhere. I can tell you that for people who are employed, we will be looking at how to manage stress. And the focus for us now who are currently employed, for those who are employed, will be on job details, understanding the job that you're doing and finding satisfaction in that job that you're doing. So for the job seekers, it will be focusing on building your own value. For the employees at the moment, would be to focus on the job that you've been employed to do and how to get satisfaction out of the job. Because if you're able to control, if you can't control everybody, you should be able to control your own self and ensure that you find satisfaction from what you do. Now, generally, for every one of us, job seekers, employees, employers, everyone, we now need to understand emotional intelligence, because that looks like the topic that makes the best of every other thing that we do in the work environment. So we will be discussing emotional intelligence. Now, we're going to now take on some other topics. Let me run through them very quickly. Things to do when on a new job. Most people get on a job not prepared. You think it's just going to be you delivering based on the job description, and you get to realize that you don't have the right work tools, the work environment is not what you're used to, the people you're working with are not the same kind of persons you've worked with, and it's entirely new. So what do you need to do when on a new job? So people who are job hunting, understand you need to watch this. And for those who are currently dealing with such issues on the job, you need to watch this as well, because I'm going to do extensive research. If possible, have people share their personal opinions and we can make the best of that discussion. Then we'll look at personal discovery and development. We all need to scale up. We need to improve. We need to discover ourselves. We need to know who we are and who we would be eventually. So that would be discussed. Then I'll be looking at embracing diversity when working abroad. Now, if you're working in your local environment or environment you're familiar with, possibilities are you all will act alike, think alike, have the same ideas, have the same orientation, and that to a large extent makes you feel at home already. But what happens if the culture is different, the orientation is different, the ideals is different, the people are different, the rules of the job is different? What if all of these things are not things you're familiar with? How do you handle it? So embracing diversity when working in and the international space. So looking beyond your sentiments is the focus for this conversation, to ensure that you're not the person who now wants to build a territory and stay within a confine, believing that that is your safe zone. You must embrace diversity. That's why you even had to change your location to start with. Now we look at value creation and problem solving. These topics are topics that I feel has impacted me and has helped me over the years. These are things I'm going to be sharing. I'm going to be researching on them and having these conversations. And of course, I think one of the trending topics since last year through this year is carer, international healthcare, and all of that. So we're going to look also at caring carers. That's the people who are in the care profession, and what it entails and how they themselves are faring as caring carers. So these are things I intend to discuss, and I look forward to having these topics pick one after the other. It's going to be a spontaneous conversation. I don't have any timetable for this already, but from time to time I'm going to be dropping these topics and we will all make the best. Please feel free to check and give me your comments. If you have any idea, also drop those ideas. Thank you. Bye.